Welcome back to 1023 Culture. We are embarking on a new adventure in life. We're looking at educational items in Steam. Now, I use Virtual Desktop, as you can see, for Steam, and it works pretty good. It gets a little glitchy when I start recording, but that's okay. This is a free game that we're going to try here. It's called Sama Experience Learning. This is seems to be predominantly about chemistry. My last time I took a chemistry class, don't show this anymore. Come on. The last time I took a chemistry class was somewhere around 37 years ago. So we are okay. As the controller simulation, this is not my Quest 3 controllers, but that's okay. It is, So I'm going to be going in completely, more or less, ignorant of chemistry, and we'll see how we do with it. I have this kind of theory about virtual reality in education. I think there's a lot of educational opportunities with VR, because I want, when I was growing up, school was tough for me. It wasn't tough because I was dumb. Maybe I was, but it was tough because I just couldn't get interested in it. So with the brave new world we have with AR and VR, I want to take a look at some things. Okay, so here we have all these sandbox items here. We're not going to get very far into this, just so you know. I'm not really thinking we're going to get very far because I don't know most of this stuff, and I wonder if it's going to take into account, because I look at some of these things and I don't even know what it means. Like valence shell, I haven't a clue. Molecular orbital theory, organic molecule builder, some geometries, periodic table. That's the one thing, and chemical equations. These are the things that I understand the concept behind it. But so we'll see if this might require some 101 before I can really get into it. We're going to give it a shot. But for me, I think this is an opportunity to find some more interest for people in what they do. So I'm 55 years old. I wouldn't say it's too late for me to learn new things, not by any stretch. But it is going to be a little bit tougher for me because it's been so long. We're just going to go with periodic trends. Why? Because at least I recognize.
In this lesson, we'll learn how to read the periodic table. The periodic table is a powerful guide to understanding why different atoms behave the way that they do.
Okay. And so how do I start it? And there's not a whole lot of instruction. Okay, so this came out in 2020, April of 2020. So it was right after the pandemic started, and that was a tough time for a lot of us. And in January 2021 is when I actually started in VR. So I've been doing it a few years here, and so I would think that I would have some knowledge of how to navigate. This is not reacting at all to anything I'm doing here, though. Okay, that highlights. That's good. Oh, there we go. All right, and we can do a little bit. We can handle that a little bit. Okay, good. All right, so we'll go back to periodic trends.
In this lesson, we'll learn how to read the periodic table. The periodic table is a powerful guide to understanding. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand how to determine the electronic structure from an atom's position on the periodic table and how that position relates to an atom's size and reactivity.
All right.
Let's start by looking at the element we built in the last lesson.
Oh, we didn't do that.
Find carbon on the periodic table and select it.
Cobalt, carbon. How would I know where carbon is, because it's been so long for me? And carbon isn't a Ca. That's calcium. Clearly, I'm wrong about that. All right, it's less reactive. Fluorine. There it is. Right. He even highlighted it for me. What a guy. All right.
We can always find the atomic number, the atomic symbol, and the atomic weights for each element listed on the periodic table.
Okay. The atomic number, the atomic symbol. That's the atomic number. That's the atomic symbol. And that's the atomic weight. Is it going to tell us what those are?
As we've seen already, this information is essential to performing work in the lab, but we can learn much more by understanding the table's patterns.
Okay, so I started in the middle.
The periodic table lists elements in order of increasing atomic number. The atomic number is equal to the number of protons and electrons in the atom.
Okay. So, protons and electrons. So, that actually has 6 of each. So, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I'm learning this as I go here. So, this is stuff.
The periodic table is organized by the periodic patterns and electron configurations of elements. We're going to learn how to recognize those patterns.
We are.
The rows in the periodic table are called periods.
Those are period. Okay. The rows. Those are the rows. No, yeah. Those are columns. These are the rows. Okay. These are rows called periods. Okay.
All elements in a period have the same number of electron shells. An electron shell is defined by the principal quantum number n. The rows in the periodic table tell us the maximum value of n in the electron configuration for that period.
I didn't even know that. Okay, so 7 shells. The maximum value of so I won't remember.
As we move across a period, we increase the number of electrons and protons. Atoms within the same period behave very differently from each other because their electronic structures are different. Look at the electronic configuration in the label to see for yourself.
And it was... why is that doing that? It's been doing that lately. Atoms within the same period behave very differently from each other because their electronic structures are very different. And the label to see for yourself. Okay. Yeah, that is cool. Beryllium. Then we skip all the way over here, but it's still only number 5. To boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and fluorine, and neon. Okay.
The outermost electron shell is important to how atoms form bonds and interact with each other, and it gets a special name.
I'm not going to get
the valence shell.
Much further into this one.
When we talk about the valence shell, we're referring to the outermost shell,
I'm probably a little
the shell with the largest value of n equal to the period the atom is in.
And I know it get really boring for me to watch somebody play this much, but it's just the idea that this is here. This is part of something you can do. We have all these sandboxes, so once you learn it, you can go into the sandbox over here, the periodic table, and you can play with it. Balancing chemical equations. It's a whole
Chemistry is the study of how atoms and molecules
and I haven't
behave,
done any of this stuff
including understanding how atoms and molecules react with each other. In this lesson,
really cool to do this.
We're going to learn how to represent chemical reactions.
Be sure to check things like this out.
And how to identify different reaction types.
Highlight a few others. The last time this was updated was it was in 2021. It is completely free. And I think and so I'm going to kind of stick with free things because it shouldn't be a burden. Education to me should not be a burden. And so this is something that would be a lot of fun for people to do, for people to check out. Do you have an interest in chemistry? Would you like to freshen up your knowledge in chemistry, but you don't want to pay for a course? It's not really, for me, it wouldn't do me any good as far as work, my work or my work life or any of that. But that doesn't change that this would be really interesting. So check it out. It's called SAMA, SAMA, education. So this is a cool one to start off with. And of course, I was completely over my head in no time flat, but I did enjoy the fact that this was, it is here. And if you have the knowledge, the base, and maybe this will give you a base if you do it right.
All matter on Earth is made of atoms.
Let's check this out.
However, most substances on Earth are not made out of a single type of atom, but rather groups of atoms bound together.
I love it. It actually is starting you off.
These groupings of atoms are called molecules.
These are called molecules. Okay, we all recognize these things. Water, nitrogen. I have no idea what that is, or that really. Aluminum chloride. Aluminum chlorine. I'm just guessing because,
This is a ball and stick representation of methane.
Yes.
Methane is made out of one carbon atom bonded to 4 hydrogen atoms. Each individual atom is shown as a sphere.
One
the
carbon
bonds
and
between
4
them
hydrogen.
are shown as
That's
the
what
sticks
makes
connecting
methane.
them.
That's what makes your farts smell bad. So this little boy right here makes your fart smell bad. And this is what's making that bathroom smell so bad when your dad sits in there for too long with his phone and he can't move his legs because they fell asleep while he was sitting on the toilet. This right here is what causes that stench. So there you go. Methane. Pretty cool. Yeah, I think I'll spend more time in this just for fun, for funsies and for my own sake, for my own knowledge. Be sure to check it out. Sama chemistry, but it just says Sama education. I didn't know if it would just be chemistry and everything else seeing for it, but it is here, and I found it by putting in education VR, and found a whole bunch of free ones, which is great. The ones that aren't free are not particularly expensive for the most part. We're going to check out a few of these things. So, hey, thanks for coming. 1023 Culture. I'll see you later. This is a culture of education. Isn't it awesome? See you later.